Good morning, class. Welcome for the next session of computer application for class 6. I hope everybody is healthy. Yes? So, here I want to tell you today that what is the syllabus of our first semester. Up till now, we have completed 4 chapters. First one was categories of computer and computer language. Second chapter was file management, data organization. Third chapter which we have studied was word processor, tabular presentation, and the last one previously in the previous session which we have completed was word processor mail merge. So these are the 4 chapters which are going to come for your first semester. So today I want to discuss some important points on which you have to focus. The first one is fill in the blanks. As I have given you all the fill in the blanks of all the chapters, question answers of 4th chapter is also available now there on our official website. So fill in the blanks as I have given you as book exercises. I hope now everybody is having their books. Those who are not having, no problem. Already the fill in the blanks are being given in the school website in the notes. But as soon as you will get your books, the very first and the important thing that you have to do is you have to go thoroughly through your chapter. Again I am repeating, you have to be thorough with your chapter because now you people are there in class 6th. Yes, so now you cannot say that only the question answers or the fill in the blanks, the true and false, or the book exercises, whatever is given, only that will be asked in your question paper. Yes, so that is why I am saying be thorough with the chapter, because whatever is there in the book exercise is there from the chapter itself. Nothing is there from outside. So if you will be thorough with your chapter, definitely all those points, the points which I have written to be focused, all will be covered automatically. So the first one is fill in the blanks. So what is given in the book exercise that you have to cover. Along with that, there are points to remember given there. Some knowledge facts are being given. Those who are having books for, they can see. They can just turn off the pages and see. I hope everybody is having the books up till now because school has provided the home delivery. Well, no issue. If you are not having, then too no problem. So next thing is true and false. As I have told you, points to remember that can be converted in a form of a fill in the blanks or in a form of true and false. Clear? There are multiple choice questions also. They can be also asked as a true and false or fill in the blanks. One word questions are there. Yes, fill in the blanks can be converted in one word questions. Then comes differentiate between. We have seen many such topics which can be created as a differentiate. It's not important that only the book exercise or the differentiate given in the book exercise will be asked. As whatever is asked in the book, that notes I have already given on the official website, but the topics which are not there in book exercise, that I have covered, I have tried to cover clearly there in our sessions. You can just go through the sessions again if any of the points is not clear. Otherwise, when we will meet, I will clear out your doubts. Then the question answers and steps all are provided there on official website. So these are the points where you have to focus. So where differentiate, question answers, write the steps are concerned, they are more or less from the book exercise only, but the fill in the blanks, true and false, they can be manipulated. Understood? Answer in one word. These are all points are such which can be manipulated. Now I think you people have understood what I am trying to say. in which way you have to study. You have to prepare for your exams. Clear? So let's revise very quickly with the first chapter. Today we will revise the first and the second chapter, which we have completed. I'm not going to go through all the topics in detail, but more or less all the topics we will cover. So in the first chapter was categories of computer and computer language. So the very first topic is categories of computer. We have seen the computer was categorized on the basis of 4 different ways, 4 different types. First one was based on generation. We have studied 5 different generations on which the computers were categorized. If we talk about generation, so how many generations are there of computer? 5 generations. The very first generation came into existence in 1940 to 1956. Second generation came into existence in 1956 to 1963. In first generation computers, vacuum tubes were used. In second generation computer, transistors were used. Then in third generation computer was from 1964 to 1971. In these generation computer, in third generation computer, ICs were used, integrated circuits were used. Then in fourth generation computer, that was there from 1971 to 1985, microprocessor was used. And fifth generation computer that we are using nowadays. Nowadays, which kind of processors are being used? Intel Core. Yes? Yes, you say no, i3, i5, i7, all these kind of. Then next category was based on size. Based on size, we have studied microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe computers and supercomputers. Means how many categories were there on based on size? 4. How many? 4. So microcomputer, what was microcomputer? Microcomputers are those computers which we use nowadays. Means they are small in size, like our laptops, desktops, yes, smartphones, game console devices, your palm tops, tablets. All these are what? The microcomputers. Means nowadays we are generally using which kind of computer? Microcomputers. Then next is mini computer. Mini computer is bit bigger in size compared to microcomputer and bit more expensive also. The speed of mini computer is more or less more. The speed of mini computer is comparatively more to microcomputer. It's expensive also compared to microcomputer and speed is also more. Now whereas mini computers used, so mini computers are used therefore large storage areas like your banks and all. Understood? Then mainframe computers are more bigger in size compared to the first two. More bigger means they are you can say they are almost of a size of a refrigerator. They are almost of a size of a refrigerator. And there are number of users are also more. At a time, many number of users can use these mainframe computers. Now where are they used? They are used for scientific research or your reservations and all in railways, in airways and all. Then comes the supercomputer. As the name itself suggests, it's a super. Means very smart enough, very speedy enough. The speed of these kind of computer is very high. The storage capacity is also very high. These kind of computers are used there in weather forecast and scientific researchers also. Clear? So the very important point here I want to discuss is what is the name of the supercomputer which India discovered, which India has designed. Do you know? That is Param and Anurag. Name of the supercomputers by India are Param and Anurag. Well, then next category comes is based on type. As earlier I have discussed, there are three types: analog, digital and hybrid. And in analog computers, which kind of computers are there? The analog computers display only the physical things, means where the physical quantity continuously changes, like your thermometer or your meters which is there on cars and all, speedometer. Yes, the speed of the car or the vehicle is continuously changing. According to that, the reflection of the reading is been shown on those kind of computers. That is which kind of computer? Analog computer. Clear? Now digital computers, the very good example is your wristwatch, digital wristwatch, where the thing is been displayed in the form of digits. Yes, understood? Then hybrid, nowadays many wristwatches you people have seen which is having analog type of, means needles are also there, and digital values are also being displayed. So these are the good example of hybrid computers. In the previous session when we have discussed this, I have shown you with the help of examples, figures. Then based on purpose, if we consider the purpose, then it is of two types, that is general purpose and special purpose. General purpose computers are those computers which are used by general people, means by us. And then special purpose are those computers which are used for special purpose, like the computers which are used there on air tracks, means where the flights lands. So there the computers which are being designed, they are only designed for that purpose. You cannot play games on it, or you cannot do painting on it. Yes, and similarly the scientific computers, those computers are also such where you cannot do anything else. Yes, the general things which you are doing on your computers right now, on your smartphone, that thing you cannot do there. So they are special purpose, designed for doing special task. I think these points are clear. Then next thing is computer language. As the chapter is divided into two parts, categories of computer and computer language. So computer language is divided into four categories. Computer language is divided into four categories. The first one is machine level language. In machine level language, what we consider? 0 and 1. Only two digits are there, 0 and 1. 0 is considered off and 1 is considered as on. Clear? Machine level language, low level language, or binary language, many other names are being given. As I have told you, machine level language is also called as low level language, binary language, or machine level language itself. Clear? Then comes the assembly level language. Assembly level language is bit more easier than machine level language. Machine level language is bit tough to understand, because where here everything is written in the combination of 0 and 1. Here everything is written in the combination of 0 and 1. So to understand this language, it's very tough, it's time taking to understand, to write programs in all 0 and 1, or everything is time consuming and chances of mistakes is very high. So this language was overlapped by assembly level language. Assembly level language is also considered as low level language, but it's better than machine level language. Because why better? Because here mnemonics were used. Mnemonics means if you want to add, so you can use ADD at the place of writing 01 and 001 or whatever. For that you can directly write ADD. It becomes quite easy, but then too you have to remember many points and many codes. And then too here it's easy than machine level language, but Then 2, it's a lengthy process and difficult to understand. Then came into existence the high level language. High level language is the languages which is very much better, very much better than machine level language and assembly level languages, both the languages, because these languages are written in simple English language which can be easily understood by us. Then came fourth generation language. So nowadays SQL you can consider as a fourth generation language. Here more intelligent languages are there which understands human language also very nicely, and it computer also understands it very nicely. Now as language is concerned, so what is language actually? Language is actually a method or a means by which you can communicate your thing to the person to whom you are talking to. So here as we are talking about computer, so means we are talking to our computer. Yes, we want to communicate with computer. We want to give instruction to computer. So we have seen that how many languages were there? Machine level language, directly understood. Assembly level language was have to be converted, because this is not there in 0 and 1, because computer only understands 0 and 1. So it becomes very important to make our computer understand what instruction I am giving, because if I am giving the instruction there in assembly level language, computer don't understand that, because computer only understands 0 and 1. So any instruction given in assembly level language, high level language or fourth generation language, so what will happen? Computer will not understand, so it will not work, because computer cannot work by its own. Whatever instruction you will give, according to that it will work. Yes. So what we have to do is a compiler or say a translator is required. If just suppose you are knowing Hindi and somebody is talking in English, so a translator, a person who can translate that English into your language, Hindi, is required. If just suppose you know English and somebody is talking in French to you, so a translator, a person who knows English and French both, is required to translate your thing into French so that that person can understand, and French into your language so that you can understand. Yes, so they are what? Translators. They are what? Translators. So here also some translators are required, which are also known as language processors, which are also known as language processors. So there are 3 types of language processors. There are 3 types of language processors. The very first one is assembler. So what is the work of assembler? Assembler is that processor which converts the assembly level language into machine level language. Clear? Means the mnemonics are being converted from assembly level language to machine level language. Then the next one is interpreter. This is also a translator or a processor. So it converts the high level language to machine level language, but it converts line by line. Means it reads the program one line and then executes it, then reads the another line, then again it executes, third executes, fourth line, and then executes. Means it goes on line by line, reads it, executes it, then goes for the next line. Then comes the compiler. So compiler converts the high level language to the machine level language. It's the same work it's doing, but what is the difference? Difference is compiler converts the whole program together at once. Means it reads the whole program and then starts translating and executing. So compiler, the translator compiler is more speedy, or say the processing speed of compiler is more compared to interpreter. Clear? Then comes the file management data organization. So here we have seen classification of file types So what kind of files we have seen? Ordinary files, directory or folders, and special purpose files. So what are ordinary files? In this chapter what we have studied, second chapter was file management and data, and in this the very first topic which we have studied is classification of file type. The first one was ordinary file. So ordinary files are those files which are temporary files. Temporary files like your notepad file, your paint file, which you just create for a time being, and then when it is your work is done, you delete it. Yes, so those files are the ordinary files. Then the next one is directory file. Then the next one is directory file or the directory folders. What are these? These are those files like your MS Word, MS PowerPoint. These all files are considered under directory or folder. Then comes the special purpose file. The ordinary file and the directory file or the folder file we create, but the special purpose files we don't create. It comes to your computer when you install any operating system or any application. Means these are the supporting files of any operating system or a application. Clear? Then we have studied understanding the different file formats. So because in this topic we have seen that there are different types of files and its extension. We will study again. Then we have seen file operations like viewing data. We have seen viewing data, then copying a file, moving a file, deleting a file, sorting files, searching files, complicated thing, working with multiple applications. Yes, now let's see file formats. The syntax of any file is first the file name is there, then a dot will be there, and then extension will be written. Means your file format is divided into two parts. First one is file name and the second part is extension. Example you can see as kips.docx. So there are some different types of file formats. Most common one I am talking about. There are many, but I am talking about some common ones. The first one is documents. These are those files which are saved in MS Word. The extension will be .doc or .docx. Then next is spreadsheet. Spreadsheets are those files which are saved in MS Excel. Image files. Here many extensions are there because different applications are there. So different extensions will be there. So image files are usually saved with a number of file formats such as GIF, JPG, PNG, .tif, etc. Many are there. Then comes audio files. The sound files are saved with the extension MP3, .wav, and many more. Then the next is presentation. Presentation created with MS PowerPoint is saved with the extension .ppt or .pptx. I have told you why this X is been added to all these extension. In the latest version of these all MS Office package, this extension is being added. I have taught you in the detail in the previous sessions when we have discussed all these points. Then viewing data, deleting data, these all points you can see there. Practically I have done there in the previous session. I have shown you each window how to do and which option to opt. Now the second option which we have studied was sorting data. We have seen that the data can be sorted in 4 ways. The data can be sorted in 4 different ways. The first one is name, second one is size, third one is item type, and the fourth one is data modified. Name, when you will do, you can arrange your files according to the alphabetical order, either ascending or descending order, A to Z or Z to A. Generally we want it to A to Z, so that searching of files becomes easy. Then it comes as size. According to the size of the file, the files will be arranged if you opt this option. Then comes item type, which type or which group does the file belongs. According to that it will be categorized and it will be arranged. Then comes date modified. According to the date which you have modified or used or created those files, according to that also you can arrange your files. This all details how all these things will be done is already discussed in the session when we have discussed this chapter. Then searching the file, I am telling you in detail because this is the most complicated part of this chapter. You should concentrate on this point. Now searching, simple searching is very easy. There is a search box, you type the name if you are knowing the complete name of the file and along with the extension. That part is easy. Or you can type that in the search box of the start menu. Yes, but if just suppose you are not remembering the name of the file or the extension of the file, then how to search the file? These wildcard characters which we are going to read now or study now, you will understand. If we are not aware of the file names, then how we can search our file in our computer. So for such thing, two wildcard characters are being provided. First one is a star. Let's talk for a star first. If just suppose you know that the first alphabet of your file name is L, yes, and you are not remembering that what else was there in that file name or how many characters were there and what was the extension and how many characters were there, then you can write L star dot star. When you will write this in the search box, what will happen that all the files in your computer with the starting alphabet L, whatever the file names will be, if it is starting with L, all those files will be listed there in the search list. Yes, and if just suppose if you write star.docx, means you are aware of the extension but you are not knowing what is the character used or what are the number of characters used in the file name. So you can use this file, but you are aware that yes, my file is of Word file and the extension is docx. So this file will be searched. All the Word files will be searched there in the search list. If just suppose you remember that the file name will start with L and the extension is also docx, but I am not remembering that how many characters were there in the file name. How many characters were there in the file name? So what I will write? L start dot docx. If this much you are remembering that my file name was starting with L and my document type was a Word type, so by writing L start dot docx, in your search list all the files, Word files starting with L alphabet will be listed. So what is the conclusion of using wildcard character star? Star means, if you are using star, means you are not aware that how many characters are there in the file name or the extension. Means it will search for as many numbers of characters will be there, all it will search for. But if you just suppose you are remembering that how many number of characters were there, but what it was, that you are not remembering. You are just remembering there were 3 characters, but what were they? That I am not remembering. So there we can use the next type of wildcard character, that is question mark. That is question mark. So wildcard character question mark can be used in place of any single alphabet or single letter or any symbol also. Just suppose I know that my file name was Kips, but after Kips also any alphabet or symbol was there, but I am not remembering, but I am remembering that it was of Word type. So I will write kips question mark dot docx. So it will search all the files starting with kips, but only one character after it. If it is just suppose two character, kips 12 dot docx, so it will not search for that. It will search for only for those files where one alphabet or one character or what symbol will be there written after kips. Example, kips1 dot docx. At the place of question mark 1 is there. It can be single s or any alphabet or any symbol or any number, anything. Yes, but only one. Next is kips triple question mark. Then if triple question marks are there, means we are aware that there will be three characters or three symbols or three numbers after kips. Just suppose kips 123 dot docx. Here we are writing the extension. We are aware of extension, but we were not remembering the complete file name, but we were remembering how many characters were there. Just suppose now how to use the combination of star and question mark. If just suppose we are remembering that, okay, the file name forgot, extension name forgot. So all the files, if you want to search there in your computer, then what you will do, all the files in the computer you want to search, so what you will do is star dot star, because star shows as many number of characters and extension also as many number of characters. But if I want to search any file which is having only one character in its, only one character in the file name and rest anything, any extension, then what I will do, I will write question mark dot star. Question mark, single question mark I have used, so it will search for all those files which is having only one character in the file name. Clear? And it will search for all the extensions because we have written star there. As many number of characters will be there and as many number and any character will be there, it will search. Like here you can see l.docx, r.pptx. l.docx is of word type, r.pptx is of presentation type, PowerPoint one, and many more. But the file name is L and R, so one character is used in both the files. If we want, just suppose kips star dot triple question mark, so what kind of search will come out? Kips and any number of characters after it, then in extension it will search for only three characters. If it is docx, it will not search for those files. It will search for only those files which have only three characters like txt, doc, .ppt, all these kind. Clear? Any three characters in the extension. Now let's have a quick view, and these points should be very clear and always be ready on your fingertips, because these are the things, these points which I am going to discuss now is very important always. So to copy multiple non-consecutive files and folder, press and hold down control key. Which key? Control key, and click on the files to be copied. The files will be selected. You can perform task as required. You can copy, you can move, or you can delete them, you can do any activity what you want. You can move it from one folder to another, or from your device to any other device, pen drive or anything. Yes. Or if you want to delete any file permanently, and earlier also I have told you, if you are using this option shift plus delete, only use when you are assured that this file you don't require again. Because if you will delete any file using shift plus delete, that file will be deleted permanently from your file, from your computer. Generally when you delete your anything from your any file from your computer, it goes to recycle bin. But if you will use shift plus delete, it will not go to recycle bin, it will be permanently deleted from your computer. So please, if you are using this option, be aware that you are sure of that this file you don't require again. Then to rename a file or folder, right click on it and select the rename option. A pop-up menu appears. Yes, that is known as shortcut menu also. Type the new name and press enter key. Your file will be renamed. Then to select a consecutive group of files, click on the first file, hold down the shift key and click to the last file. So to the first to the last, all the files will be selected. Some shortcut keys, you should remember there are many more. I have written the common ones, very frequently used. The first one is for copying, because these all topics you are studying in this particular chapter. So for copying, what shortcut key is there? Control plus C. It will copy whatever part is selected. For cut, Control plus X. This will cut only that much part which is selected. Paste, wherever your cursor will be or pointer will be, there only the particular thing will be pasted, and the shortcut key is Control plus V. Clear? I hope you people have understood all those points which are being done. Again I am repeating, the question answers of the 4th chapter is there on our official website. Please go through it and note it down there in your copies. Yes, hope to meet you in the next session, and be safe there in your homes and enjoy the online classes. And please learn also whatever is being discussed. That's all. Thank you.